Welcome to Starcanum, where we are obsessed with Star Wars Unlimited. I'm Ryan, and I'm so glad you're here because today we've got Leia Organa leading some rebel ships striking from hidden bases. Let's check it out. Now, as always, I'm not going to tell you this is the deck to go out and buy and win your next store event or anything like that. It's just something I'm working on and having a lot of fun with, and I wanted to share it with you because A, it's pretty good. I mean, I have been winning more than I lose with it. And two, it's very budget friendly. There's like 6 or 7 rares in here, and I don't think you even really need any of them. But let's go through the list real quick, and I'll show you how this all works. So just a quick refresher. Leia lets us double up our attacks with rebel units, and I realized that right now, Star Wars Unlimited is very much a ground game. Everyone is playing force units on the ground to generate force for their bases, which also have a little bit less HP, which kind of gives our aggressive strategy an advantage. We're just going to ignore all the small, secret sages and Night Sister warriors and all that. All those little force units, they're not going to be able to outrace us in damage. We're just going to go into space, put down some fighters, throw some really good pilots on there, and make use of our rebel synergies with things like Wing Leader to just pile on the damage. So, of course, that means we have to start with a bunch of small ships, right? We've got the classic Alliance X-Wings, we've got the Green Squadron A-Wings, we've got the Phoenix Squadron A-Wings, we've got the Y-Wings there, so lots of stuff to open up with, and then we back those up with really strong 3 costs as well. I mean, that's when you're playing your Fleet Lieutenant or your Wing Leader to get a buff on there, or you're playing Falcon and Red 5 to set yourself up for future turns. Those are both great buckets to put more pilots into, as we will see. So let's look at those pilots, right? We've got Nien in here, we've got R2, we've got Luke, we've got Biggs, we've got the Leia unit that lets us attack with a piloted ship with a buff and some restore, and Chewbacca, who is a huge problem for a lot of control decks to deal with. And then in terms of events, we've just got some open fire in case we need to blow a hole through a sentinel. And then we've got some timely reinforcements, which is kind of our ace in the hole against a super laser blast or something that does catch us. We can just flood the board very quickly with a bunch of small X-Wings and ride those to victory. Now, I said it was technically a budget deck. I mean, there's no legendaries in here, and the rares aren't even like crucial to the game plan. Nien Nunb is a rare pilot, but there are common and uncommon alternatives here that are still rebels that you could use instead, so be on the lookout for one of those. And then Luke is also rare, and you could replace him with like that 3/1 red pilot, but he's a resistance and not a rebel, so you just can't play him to the ground and still use Leia's ability. But if you put him on a ship, it still adds 3 power, and the ship itself is still a rebel, so you're good there. I had 1 copy of Sabine's Masterpiece just in my collection, and I wanted to play with it. So you don't have to have that. If you don't own one already, don't put it in the deck, man. Just play another ship, or put a 3rd copy of Cassian, probably, or Blue Leader is another rebel that would also work in here, technically. So you got options, okay? And then we got 2 copies of Legal Authority, which is also rare, and it's nice to have, but it is by no means mandatory. It's just a great way to capture things cross-lane, right? We're going to have some very big, powerful spaceships, and this lets us, deny our opponent their super laser tech or something like that. We can swallow those up, and then they don't get to self-defeat it with Palpatine and ramp, and things like that. So it's a flexible piece, but that could just be Strike True or, Daring Raid, I guess. Whatever you got. You don't have to use Legal Authority. Overall, though, the game plan remains. Play cheap ships, load them up with pilots, use Leia to really push the attacks so that we can claim, so that we can push more attacks, and just try to kill people as quickly as possible. Let's see how we do. Okay, looks like this match is against a ground-based force deck here. Grand Inquisitor, Crystal Caves. Do we want a mulligan? Yeah, we don't have any of our cheap fighters, so take another shot at this. Okay, we have an X-Wing and an A-Wing, we have a cheap pilot, we've got 2 copies of Red Leader, which are also good, we don't need both of those, so some easy mulligan decisions here. Pretty happy with it. We'll put down one of the Red Leaders, and it's a little risky to get rid of both of these 2-cost ships. I also like keeping Leia, but we're probably not going to have a chance to play her this early on, so we'll resource her as well. Alright, opponent has opened with Acolyte of the Beyond, so as we thought, force synergies for days. We're going to throw the A-Wing in here just because it punches a little bit harder than the X-Wing, and I don't expect a lot of space resistance from our opponent. And they used Inquisitor's ability to ready up their Acolyte, so we just get to claim. Okay, and I don't think we need duplicate Red Squadron Y-Wings. We'll resource one of those. This turn we can play probably either the X-Wing or a Y-Wing, plus also Nien as a pilot on this A-Wing. I'm a little scared about like a waylay or something here, but we're just gonna have to risk it. Okay, so they're going Fallen Lightsaber, so I guess we'll just get in for our damage. And we'll play this X-Wing out here as well. Alright, open fire is gonna let us kill their Acolyte, which is huge. I don't think we're gonna need this Y-Wing. I mean, I guess I should have used Leia there to double attack with the ships, especially because they've got Scimitar. Alright, I'm not too worried about that. Although they can use Inquisitor to ready somebody up. I think we're just gonna use open fire to kill their Acolyte right now before they use his ability on that. Oh, they couldn't because he already has the lightsaber. It was already too powerful. So they are going to get the Scimitar up. But that's okay because now we can just send our X-Wing into that. And now we're in a pretty good spot, right? We've got something on board. They don't. We drew Sabine's Masterpiece and a Fleet Lieutenant. So I'd like keeping Luke and putting him on a Red Leader here. That could be good. Except we can't afford to do both of those in one turn. So maybe we just get rid of Luke for right now. Alright, they're going for another Scimitar, so I think we just kill that before they can ready it. So maybe the play is deploying Leia using Fleet Lieutenant to attack with her and hit their base pretty hard. Unfortunately, we can't play either of those other things. I guess we should have kept Luke if I'd mathed that out a little better. But hey, work in progress. You know, recording and playing at the same time is tricky. I don't think we need another Nien Nunb here, so he can go in the resources. And usually I stop at like 5 or 6 resources. I don't think we'll be doing any more. All right, so they send Tyrannus in to kill our Fleet Lieutenant, which is actually fine because now Leia can go to the base and she can bring this A-Wing in as well. And now they're at 22 out of 28 and we still get to play stuff. So I think we're gonna put Red Leader and then maybe put Chewbacca in the Red Leader. And they force throw, so I guess we'll discard that Sabine's Masterpiece. They're just going to concede because I guess they figure they're toast either way. All right, so there we go. A ground deck that was, again, force-based, and we just outraced them with our spaceships and some good pilots on there. So let's see if we can do it again. Okay, this match looks like it's going to be Yoda with, again, a force base. So I'm expecting more of a ground game. We've got Chewbacca, which is pretty good against the blue cards. We've got a ship, we can throw pilots on it. I think I'm pretty happy with this, so no mulligan here. So I don't think we need both Chewbaccas, and this Cassian might come in handy later, so we'll resource him. So Adigalia, we'll put down our A-Wing. And I don't think I want to put R2 into that A-Wing. In fact, I don't think I need R2 here at all. So they go with a force throw, so I should have kept that R2. I guess we will give up the A-Wing here, which lets them deal 2 damage to our A-Wing, but then we can pilot it with Chewbacca. Alright, so they get in for 2, we get in for 6. And now we've got Fleet Lieutenant and an R2-D2. So I think we're going to put Timely Reinforcements down. I don't expect this game to go super long. Constructed Lightsaber, sure. So I think the play here is, I guess we could just Fleet Lieutenant and get in for a lot of damage. Take out the Fleet Lieutenant. I guess we can play R2 as a unit. I mean, that does let us double attack with Leia's ability here. Another timely reinforcements. Again, I don't think that's worth keeping. Not like this deck ramps a lot or anything. Alright, so they're throwing damage on units, which is letting us continue to attack in for a lot. Now, this is where we start to have to worry about You're My Only Hope and like a Luke coming out way early or something. So I think we can open fire that Adi and just get rid of her. And there it is. Oh, just an Anakin. Okay, and it doesn't even kill our A-Wing. So we can play the other A-Wing. They get to claim. We get to deploy our leader, get in 4 more on the base. And now we have a wing leader and a Falcon. Unfortunately, we can't play both of these. I am going to hold both, just in case they do have another force throw. Alright, turret. It was kind of annoying. So I think we get in with Chewbacca first. And yeah, this A-Wing now kills them. So we win. We beat Yoda. It can be that simple. All right, let's go for a third one. Okay, this one's going to be tough because it's Quinlan Tarkin Town, which is like, you know, the 800-pound gorilla in the room. We got to deal with it. So we've got a couple of 2s, we've got the 3s, we've got some open fire. I mean, I guess this is about as good as we can hope for, so no mulligan, although I do not expect these units to last very long. I don't think we need timely reinforcements. And I don't know if we need red 5. I think I'd rather trust the Falcon to get us there, because if we can play that and put a pilot on it. But we're going to lead off with our A-Wing. And it is almost definitely going to die to the Ping Tarkin Town combo here. I mean, what can you do, right? Okay, so we picked up another red 5 and Sabine's Masterpiece. So this deck has like maybe too many 3-cost things to do. We usually have really good turn 2s. But without a board already out there, Masterpiece isn't super good. Although I guess red 5 isn't going to be able to like do a lot for us either. But I am hoping to draw a pilot, so we're going to go with Falcon. See where that gets us. They have their own Falcon, and it's going to eat our Falcon. Oh, God. Okay, alright. Quinlan remains super strong. So at 4, we could just play like red 5 and put a pilot on it. We could just open fire to get rid of this Falcon. And then play Nien as a ground unit, which I don't super love. Are they paying to keep this Falcon? They're not. Okay, so open fire on their Falcon is not going to do a whole lot for us either. And so now, if we play red 5, they're just going to get to kill it anyway. Or maybe not, because Nien gives it 2 more health. Yeah, so let's try that. What do they do against a 4/6? Now the Falcon doesn't kill it. Now you lose the Falcon if you attack into it, in fact. Oh, Sure. Daring raid. Okay, so now it's a trade. So now we're just getting nibbled to death by L3. Alright, we found Chewbacca. Chewbacca in an X-Wing I don't hate. It's pretty beefy. I don't really just want to throw Chewbacca on the ground because then, like, he gets attacked right away by Quinlan and L3. So we will put Chewbacca into that X-Wing. And of course they've got a 2-drop to start chipping away at our 2-cost unit. Alright, so now that they have spent some resources, they can't play Plo Koon. So I will try deploying Leia and just pushing for damage, but I don't know. Alright, right, because Quinlan lets them hit anything. Okay, so I think we're just going to start racing on the base. And then claim. All right, wing leaders, don't need 2 of those. So we can either open fire to kill red 5, which maybe keeps this X-Wing alive longer. We could wing leader to buff our X-Wing. We could do both. We could just attack with Leia first and get in for 9 here. But then we almost definitely lose everything. So I think open fire on red 5 first is the way to go. And now it's just a question of, do they throw something into Leia? Do they have like another Falcon? Do they have Plo Koon to ambush in and kill Leia now? They have Depa Balob. Alright, same idea. Sure. So that's more damage on our Chewbacca X-Wing. Wing Leader is going to buff it up and hopefully keep it alive a little longer. But they are racking up damage on the ground. We'll get in for our 7 here. But yeah, I think we're just going to end up taking way too much damage. So they claim without even attacking. They want to get in their, what, Depa attack? Okay. We got a Fleet Lieutenant and a Skywalker, so I think we keep both of those. Ahsoka, so they're going to be able to tap down. No. Alright, well, we'll discard Luke. Yeah, that's a problem. Alright, Fleet Lieutenant, get in for 4. And so maybe we're not dead yet here, because if we get... Nope. Alright, that Falcon is now going to take out Chewbacca. So I was thinking we would get to do 9 and almost have them. And now they're just going to devour our board. And yeah, I mean, that's the strength of the Quinlan deck. Like, it's got ways to exhaust your stuff. It's got Force Throw. It's got, you know, the ability to ping off shields on the ground. It's got ambush. It's got a little bit of everything. So it's just well equipped. Well equipped. Let's try piloting. I mean, they only have to deal 10 damage to us, and they've easily got that on board. Hotshot blaster, sure. All right, well, we got them to 20 out of 25. I mean, it still is pretty close. I think it's worth giving this deck one more shot because, I mean, these games are going pretty quick. So let's see what we can do. Okay, this time we are up against Han Solo, the odds one at Echo Base. So we have like this is like right from the movie. We've got some Falcons, some Red Leaders, an A-Wing. I think we're okay. So no mulligan here. We've also got Luke from Hoth. The whole gang is here. We just need Chewbacca. All right, don't need 2 Falcons. Don't need 2 Red Leaders. So the Han deck does play to space. So this should be a more even matchup for both of us. And then they go with R2. So what am I talking about? All right, we'll just claim here. And then, so next turn, we can either put Luke into this A-Wing or put down the Falcon and start working on building that up on subsequent turns. Yeah, I don't think we need Sabine's Masterpiece here, but I like Nien because we can put him in the Falcon or put him on Red Leader. I guess we're just going to go Luke into this A-Wing and hope they don't have a Waylay or Bamboozle. Never tell me the odds. Okay. 4 damage, not enough to kill our ship, so we get an attack in for 6. And then even if they do kill this, Luke just pops down onto the ground. We get to keep him. So, like I said, you don't need these rares, but they are worth the investment. Okay. All right, they hit us with R2 for 1. We claim. Wing Leader and Cassian. So Cassian is easy resource. And so now, do we play Red Leader while we've got the discount, while we've got the ship? Well, I guess it doesn't matter, right? Because even if they kill this A-Wing somehow, Luke pops out and we'll still have a pilot. So this will still be cheap. And then we can just throw Nien right in it and make an X-Wing. I think that's my plan. First, though, we attack with the A-Wing. All right, so we got 12 damage on them. They've only gotten 1 on us so far, so we are definitely winning the race, which is good. But a blue leader with ambush is going to knock out our A-Wing. We get to move Luke down to the ground, keep him. So we can still play a cheap red leader, or we can do Falcon and put Nien on that and just try to make a huge ship. I think I'd rather try to go wide here rather than tall, just because I am worried about like waylay, bamboozle, stuff like that from the yellow. So one of the cool things about Nien is that his piloting cost is only 1, which is really great. And so when you put a pilot on red leader, it makes an X-Wing. Now note, the X-Wing, despite being an iconic rebellion ship, is not a rebel. It's just a vehicle fighter. So we can't get the extra attack out of it with Leia, but like, whatever. Our opponent in chat is already saying, good game, I'm screwed. So I think they realize what's about to happen here. Because yeah, this is very hard to deal with. And if we draw like one of our R2s, that's also like a pilot that you can squeeze in here and generate another token, and this just kind of spirals out of control. I mean, our opponent's looking at another, what, 10 damage coming across, plus we get to deploy Leia, plus we can play Wing Leader and buff somebody, so like, yeah, we're gonna have a very hard time dealing with this board. And so they're just running out the clock, but that's it. That's another win for the very aggressive strategy of playing your ships, loading them up with pilots, and just getting in there and rushing down their base. So let's put the deck up on screen one more time and talk about what worked and maybe where we can make some improvements. Okay, so overall, when we're up against those ground-based, force-based decks, we generally do pretty good because our damage output is better than theirs is, and they're at a slight disadvantage having the lower HP on their base anyway. The force bases all have either 28 or the rares have 25. So that really empowers us to just get in there and bully them by attacking with really powerful space units that they don't have good ways to interact with because their stuff is mostly on the ground. Putting pilots on the ships can be risky, right? Like against a blue deck that is able to just take down or fell the dragon. If your Falcon gets really big with pilots or stuff like that, that can really hurt. That can set us back quite a bit. So if your opponent does have a blue leader or base, try to mulligan for Chewbacca because he's the safest pilot to put down in those matchups. But if you've got the Luke, that can work too, because then even if they do kill the ship that he's on, you at least still get some value out of that because he just becomes a ground unit that is still a rebel that can still work with your leader. Other things, I mean, you really do need at least a 2-cost unit in your opening hand, and then we've got plenty of 3s in the deck. I mean, Cassian doesn't really count because you're almost always resourcing him and playing him for 5. The Leia ground unit, I very rarely play on curve either because you won't have had a 2-cost unit that also got a pilot on it. In a very rare case, maybe you do play Nien or R2 or Luke on the ground as your turn 1 play, and then Leia still lets them attack. But I would really try to avoid that if possible. So even though Leia's a 3, she tends to be more of a late game card, which means you're mostly looking to play either Fleet Lieutenant to push extra damage off of your A-Wings or X-Wings, or Falcon or Red Leader, or maybe Wing Leader, but I do try to keep Wing Leader also for later because that's great when you deploy Leia as a leader. You can use Wing Leader to then buff her stats up and give her some more survivability. And then in terms of interacting with our opponents, I mean, the legal authority can be really good, but it can also just buff up the butt on one of your ships if they're trying to whittle you down with damage. We didn't see it here today, but against like the Boba indirect damage kind of plan, that makes your Falcon a little bit tougher, or makes, Red 3 live a little bit longer, or Red 5 rather, live a little bit longer. So just having that extra 2 HP can make the difference. But when you get to swallow up something off the ground and your opponent has no way to, kill your Falcon because it's got Chewbacca on it, and now you're holding Dr. Pershing, captive as well, like the control decks really start to sweat. And that always makes me feel good. So yeah, that's it. All told, it's a pretty budget-friendly deck. You can make minor adjustments. And again, guys, play what you have. Don't go out buying or trading to make this deck happen if you don't have the pieces. Just use what you've got. I mean, there's plenty of different cards you could sub in. You don't need Sabine's Masterpiece. You don't need Nien or Luke. And there's no legendaries. So, I mean, even as it stands, I think this is like a $50 deck right now. And we just got a bunch of easy wins with it. So I think that there's something here. I'm going to keep tinkering with it. But if you've got ideas on things that we should add or subtract or multiply, leave me your thoughts in the comments. And then make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the exciting unlimited adventures that we have here on Starcanum. I'll see you next time.